Welcome back to the Authentic Human Podcast. I'm Michelle Vickers, and this is where we explore consciousness, creation, existence, and evolution through conversations with the universal beings that created the universe, existence, and consciousness itself. Welcome. So this is part 106 of the story of creation. It's a series that we've been following for a year now, and we are literally having conversations with the creator and universal beings who asked if I would share this story with humanity. And ultimately, their reasoning is because we need to understand our origins. We need to understand our history. Because when you understand your history, you can do anything, right? Any leader truly understands that the most valuable asset that they have is information and knowledge. The reality is there's a lot of information and knowledge on this planet, right? Whether it's in books, whether it's in the internet, that isn't factual. It's not real and it's not true. Sometimes it's because people are consciously choosing to manipulate. Sometimes it's because people don't have the full story and they're sharing half the story from a perspective of truth and the whole story. And ultimately, I have a thirst for understanding the origins of human existence. I am so passionate about it. I'm obsessed to the point where I just want to have conversations with universal beings about everything. And that's really how the story of creation came to be. Okay. So let's see who's here today. So we've got it's interesting because there's beings I haven't met these beings before, which is cool. Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit slower only because I'm feeling into them and I'm exploring them. And um, it's interesting because they have it's almost like, this is going to sound crazy, but it's almost like a mermaid, but yeah, but not. There's a higher consciousness here. Okay. Oh, we're going to talk about shape shifting. Okay, that's cool. Okay. So what we've been working on in the past 10 parts of the story of creation is talking about existence and matter and how matter comes to be and how ultimately creation is created, how we use how we use energy to create matter and how we use energy to create experiences. And so we're going to talk about shape shifting today. It's always fun. It's always, it's an adventure every time I sit down in this chair to do one of these parts of the story of creation, because honest to goodness, I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. And I can tell you that I genuinely did not see shape shifting coming for today. So here we go. So they want to help you begin to understand that shape shifting it's really about recognition. Okay. So it's self-recognition, because you can become anything in the universe. You can have an experience where you become that experience. Okay. Now, it's important to understand that you're not energetically, molecularly, biologically changing your cell structure. You're becoming an aspect of that aspect of existence so you can have a full experience of it. Why is this super important? Because that is how we explore. That's the foundations of exploration. This is so cool. What's really cool is I get it because I've been doing it for so many years. Okay, sorry. I get so excited. Okay, so what happens is when you when you want to explore anything, when anything is of interest to you. So an exploration isn't like I'm going on an expedition, okay? Sometimes we think about it that way, which is great. But an exploration is actually whatever it is you're curious about, you your curiosity elicits a question in you, okay? And it's now this curiosity that you want to know about. Okay. Sometimes it's a burning desire. Sometimes you're obsessed with it, right? Like I'm obsessed with exploring the universe and having conversations with universal beings. I am obsessed with that. That's great. It fills my soul and it brings me fulfillment every single day because I use it in a way that brings me fulfillment. But here's the thing. Sometimes we have questions that are just passing curiosities. Sometimes they're just, idle wonderings. And sometimes you have a curiosity because it's going to change your life. The information that you're going to experience is going to change your life, right? So let me give you an example. Maybe you're going through something, an emotional challenge. You're in a relationship and, it's not going well and you just don't know what to do. You don't know how to get out of it. You can't see the end. You'd use shape shifting to help you explore what your potential is. Okay. So it's the same as if you have a health challenge. So let's say something within your body is off. And so your exploration is all about how can I fix this? How can I make it feel better? That's the human perspective, okay? The universal perspective is you go on an exploration and you shapeshift into different experiences so that you can experience the energy of your desired result. Okay. So it's understanding that we are here to explore our potential. And in order to do that, there are specific tools you need. Okay. So let's say you're okay. They're showing me. So we're going to go deeper into the energy. So I'm going to encourage you to feel the experience that is going to be offered. Okay. When you have a vision, when you have an intention, right? You have a question that's there. That a question is a vision and it is an intention because that's exactly where your curiosity is, right? That's the reason that we exist. Intention becomes energy, becomes experience. So your question is your intention. Every single time you have a question, that's an intention. Okay. So your job is to remain open to whatever answers come. Right. So all of a sudden, when people are saying, let's just say you have a challenge in your relationship and you're like, I just want to know what to do. And then another experience happens and someone's not treating you well. And then another experience happens and they're not treating you well and it's getting worse. And you're coming back and you're going, I just need to know what to do. So the universe is answering your question. You're just not listening to the answer because you don't want that answer. Okay. So that's really important to understand. The second part and where this goes is when you have a challenge in your life, when you have a challenging experience that you are working through, okay, it is understanding that that is literally a message from your soul. It is a conscious, it's like your soul and the universe are activating you, okay? They're literally pressing the buttons that they need to press, that you need them to press so that you can step into your potential. So you can step into the life that you're meant to be living. So all of those moments where you're like, this can't be real, this doesn't feel right, this is wrong. You're right. It doesn't feel right. It is wrong, and you're not supposed to be in that situation. But instead of getting lost in, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, start paying attention to the energy because the energy is right there. And it's telling you exactly how to get out of these situations. It's not complicated. The only reason it seems complicated is because you don't actually want that answer. You want to find a different solution that is easier, that is more comfortable, right? Sometimes we've decided that we're going to hurt other people if we follow through on what we know we're meant to do. So we don't do it because we don't want to hurt them. Well, that's awfully controlling of the universe. You trying to control the universe. Because the reality is we all signed up for the lives that we're in. We all signed up for them. We know what we're meant to experience. And if those experiences don't happen, then the universe is going to make sure they happen in some other way. So now it'll be a double whammy instead of just going through it the first time. You see how that works? But we think controlling it to protect ourselves is going to be better. And so ultimately, we're now at a place where you have universal tools at your disposal. Okay. So just like having the answers, having the information coming, you also have the opportunity to experience your potential. What does that mean? And what does that look like? Experiencing your potential and allowing yourself to step into it, right? So if you allow the world and the universe to come together, yeah, it really is. It's a surrender to allowing the universe to come together for you. And this is tricky and challenging for most humans, for many humans to participate in, because we believe that we're not worthy of that much attention and focus. And so what happens is we get really uncomfortable. We get so uncomfortable that we then start disregarding what's said. So, for example, right, when a whole bunch of people get together and all of a sudden you're in a room with a bunch of people and they all start focusing on you and telling you how great you are, there's a discomfort that comes and you disregard the energy. You disregard it. You shut down and you say, oh, thank you, or, oh, no, and what happens is energetically, you're not in the universal perspective of being present, being open to receiving all that information and all that energy, because it's pure universal energy when people share the truth back with you. And if you're in this place where you're resisting it, okay, it's you resisting your potential. This is a little bit all over the place, which is really interesting today. So ultimately, what they're showing you is your path to fulfillment, your path to your potential is not a straight line. It's rocky and it's steep and there's wild terrain, right? You're going over water, you're going, through the air, and you're going over land. Like, it's a constant shift. It's a constant challenge. And the reality is you have the capacity to get to the other side. But it's understanding that the other side is pure awareness. It's pure conscious awareness and conscious recognition of yourself in this universe. That's what we're shooting for right now, right? We're in this world where humans are trying to use their minds to comprehend consciousness and propelling yourselves forward. And what he's saying is the missing piece is your capacity to allow information to come in the form of energy. So intention becomes energy, becomes experience, right? So if you have an intention, you're feeding it with your mind, trying to make it happen. So you're coming up with strategies instead of allowing the universe to show you step by step, okay? So what happens is if you use your mind to create and feed, right? That's the energy part. Then the experience will be a reflection of what your mind created. It's not a reflection of the potential that you actually originally intended, because you didn't follow the energy to get there. You followed your mind, you followed strategies. And so, what originally instilled in the original creation of human existence? So, the creators here for this part, we've got angelics, first stream, second stream. There's a ton of universal beings, a ton. We've got the goddess, they're all here. And so, what they're explaining is originally, part of the original essence of human existence was to ensure an aspect of, like, we have an aspect of experience in us, right? So and this experience is our capacity to feel energy, okay? To experience energy. And why it's vital. It's vital to our existence. And so it's our capacity to feel energy that ultimately allows us to create and allows us to, that's where your questions come from. That's where your instincts exist. It's where everything universal, it's really interesting. It's a primal, like, you can feel the energy. There's not a lot of words, and I'm trying to explain it. So just bear with me, because I haven't explored this aspect, and I'm super excited. At the same time, because I've never explored it and it's here. It's kind of like how I feel like it's like going into a live volcano and knowing it's about to erupt, but there's not fear of it. It's just so exciting and you want to get in before the episode's over, kind of feeling. It's like, okay, we have a little bit of time. So that's kind of how I feel. So just bear with me for a minute. And so what they're what they want to explain, what they want to communicate, okay, is your capacity to experience energy is phenomenal. It's astronomical. In fact, it is literally a superpower, okay? And as humans, we've been trained and taught to hone that skill in a way that turns it off, okay? And specifically, you've got so much training in this. The education system, sit still, raise your hand, don't share, don't think, don't be, just listen, and that's it. What is it, that only speak when spoken to, and all of those, right? Like, there's so many. But it's understanding that we've even got the spiritual world, right? And the whole belief about being empathic and how to control your ability to feel, feeling is bad. The reality is, it is your superpower. Why? Because it gives you the information and knowledge that you need. Okay? So what does that mean? So when we talk about intention becomes energy, becomes experience. Okay? The energy part is where you're getting your information and knowledge. But it's not supposed to come from strategy. It's not supposed to come from what your mind knows, because it doesn't know your potential. It doesn't know the expansiveness of the universe. It only knows your past. And so the energy is what will speak to you. The energy is what allows you to transcend time and space. It's what allows you to literally create something out of nothing. Energy, that's what energy is. It is literally the power of creation. And so what happens is, in the energy part, that's where you explore, right? So you have an intention and then you explore that intention. So we've been taught that fulfillment is getting the job done, finishing the project, getting to the end. No. Okay. That's why this is all so weird and off and doesn't flow. And most of the things you want, you don't actually get, because you're using that strategy. In truth, it's intention becomes energy. That energy, that's where your exploration is. It's not a strategy, it's an exploration, which means you're discovering how the intention is meant to be created in existence so it can come to you. Fundamentally different. Instead of, I got to hustle, I got to figure this out. No, that's not how it works. It's literally you exploring. Okay. And this is where the shape shifting comes into play. This is, and here's the other part. When you're not in physical form, this is what your soul is doing all the time. When it's out there exploring existence, it is constantly setting an intention. What does it want to learn? What does it want to know? What does it want to explore? And then it explores it. And then it has the experience. Boom. And then it has the wisdom and knowledge it needs to then create a new intention, a new question. That's literally on repeat. That's existence on repeat. Okay. And so ultimately, what shape shifting is, what it does is it gives you an opportunity to shift into a different state of being. So you have that experience because humans gain information and knowledge through experience. That's when it changes who we be. And so ultimately, we are in a place where we have to come back to those roots. We have to come back to those origins. And we need to allow ourselves to feel fully again, because when you feel, that's where you shapeshift, right? And I know you do it because you have friends, you have family, you have animals. Most people can do this so well with animals. You can literally shift into, it's how, when it's your pet, you know what they need. You know what they're feeling. When other people are like, what? Your dog wants to what? And you're like, yeah, I just know exactly what they want. Or my cat, or my bird, or my snake, or whatever it is, because you know them, because you allow yourself to feel their energy. It's the same thing with the people that you love. When you're in a state of connection with them and you feel the energy, you become a part of their energy and their energy becomes a part of you. It's not a bad thing. They're not going to take advantage, okay? And you're not going to be taken advantage of because someone's in your energy. They're not actually technically in your energy. It's your consciousness, okay? So shape-shifting is a state of universal vibration, but it's your soul. So what happens is it's literally a shift in frequency and vibration, okay? So what happens is if you imagine just for a second, I'm going to just make it really, really simple. Two balls of energy, okay? You have your ball of energy and there's another ball of energy, okay? Whoever it is, maybe you want to have an exploration with the creator, okay? We're going to go all the way up to the creator. So he has a ball, creator is a ball of energy and you're a ball of energy, okay? And you want to know something, about the creator. You want to know something about what he was thinking when he created man, okay? Super cool. And so what happens is that's your intention. So your experience now will be an energetic, it's like some people call it an awakening. It doesn't matter. It's what is the word? You're synchronizing your frequency with the creators. Okay. And I know that this is not a thought process that you go through. Okay. It's just when you surrender and you open to the energy, okay, your frequency changes. So now you're both at a frequency where you come together, okay, and you overlap just a teeny bit. So he's not in you, you're not in him. You don't have to do that. That's not how the universe works, right? You don't go into someone else's soul and they come into you. None of that is true. It's, that's not how energy works on so many levels. But what happens is when you're in resonance, that's the word I was looking for. When you're in resonance with another universal being, okay, you have the potential to become an aspect of existence that is experiencing the fullness of that being or experience or frequency. Okay. It's how remote viewing works. It's how, you can literally travel anywhere. There's so many different words for all these things, but you can literally travel, astral travel, and see things that are going on around the world, or it doesn't, through space, back in time, hundreds of years ago. You want to go and experience the dinosaurs, doesn't matter, all these things, right? You can go, you can experience Rome, you can do Atlantis, it doesn't matter, you can do whatever you want. But the key is, first you have to believe you can. And of course, we live in a world where we've been taught, oh, that's not possible. Why do you think they'd teach us it's not possible? Why do you think that they would actually, it's not just that it's not possible, but they attack people who attack in many ways, right? I mean, witches were burned at the stake. This is not shocking, right? They literally attack anyone who would challenge, no, that's not possible, right? Okay. This is why. Because it is a fundamental aspect of our being. It's how we were created. And how do you cover it up? Well, first by telling people it's lies. And then second, anyone who challenges those lies, shut them down hard, right? And so we're at the point now where, it's actually kind of funny, because the internet was created to control humanity and it started to work, but it kind of backfired at the same time, because at the end of the day, humans are smart. We're not stupid. Even though we've been brainwashed to believe so many things, we still know it's wrong, because our instincts are bigger and more powerful than our brainwashing. Why? Because your energy is more powerful than your mind. It will always be that way. That is how existence was created. That's why they have to work so hard at holding the manipulation. Okay. So what happens is, when you set your intention, if in a universal state of being, okay, as you set any intention, doesn't matter what it is, okay, from like what you want to have for breakfast to, what you're going to be doing with your life, okay, doesn't matter. What matters is you set the intention and then you allow the energy to speak to you and through you, to and through you, okay? And so what happens is you receive wisdom, you receive awareness, and as you receive it, you know instinctively if you're meant to have a deeper exploration of that one piece to fulfill your intention. How do you know if you have to have a deeper exploration? Well, because you have a different question that comes out of that first question, and then another one, and another one, and another one, right? There's reasons that we ask questions over and over and over again. This all comes back to the fact that your brain, okay, is designed to follow the energy. Whatever you feel, your brain's going to have a question about it. When it doesn't have a question, because it's that's fulfillment. When the questions stop, it means the experience you created fulfilled your original intention. That's fulfillment. And honestly, you're actually meant to be running around with a whole bunch of questions in your head, but not like a crazy person, like a person who's exploring their potential, one question at a time. One question at a time. Because every time you have a question, it allows you to go into that exploration. And it will either give you the answer for that exploration, or it's going to take that exploration deeper. Because some intentions you set, like I said, they're lifelong. They're evolving. For me, I want to explore my potential while simultaneously creating opportunities for others to explore their potential. That's it. So that's a lifelong intention. And then I've got intentions for, what I'm going to eat today. I've got intentions for how I'm going to live today. I've got intentions for the story of creation. My intention is really simple. I'm going to keep going as long as the creator shows up. And as long as you're here listening, because it's fun for me, but if you're not interested, then I'll just do it by myself. But the reality is, if you're still here, I'm going to keep showing up. That's an intention. And so now I'm exploring it. And the experience I create, it's being created all the way along, each one of those questions. And this one's really simple because every day I sit down in this chair and it's like, okay, what are you going to share today? I have no attachment to the outcome. Zero. That's how we're meant to be in our life. The challenge is we have too many attachments, and the attachments are often to beliefs that don't even make sense. I can't hurt this person. I don't want to let this person down. I'm not good enough for this. They don't even make sense. None of them. And so, shape-shifting is really cool, but you can't experience it if you don't allow yourself to believe that you're worthy of experiencing it, that you're ready to experience it. And more importantly, if you don't allow yourself to acknowledge that you've already been experiencing it, because it's been in parts of your life. When maybe before you meet one of your partners and you have this vision and you're like, oh my gosh, I see myself and my partner and what life is going to be like. And then, within days or weeks, you meet this person. Sometimes you meet the person and then you have this vision and you're just like, I just know it's you. I just know, right? It's like going to the animal rescue and you walk through and you're just like, this is the one. I know it is. Because you felt the energy. You felt the energy. And so many times we've been trained to not follow the energy. That energy is shape-shifting, guys. That's what it is. It's you resonating with that other being, and that being or that experience or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be another being. It can be an experience itself. It's, you're meant to go and travel and leave where you are because you feel the energy of that experience and it's in you. That's how we were created. Literally how we were created to experience life and existence here. So today, what they want you to do, what they're asking you to pay attention to, okay, is when you have a question, how does your mind expect it's going to get the answer? Because right there, that's telling you where your block is, the expectation. And expectation is not about, it's not about exploring. Expectation is an attachment to the outcome, which means there's no room for discovery. It means you're focused on getting to that goal and you can't see anything else. There's no room to let any energy in. There's no room to let any experience in. And so your world gets smaller energetically. Everything gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and it chokes out the potential. It chokes out the possibility. And ultimately, your fulfillment never comes. That's what expectations do. They block every chance you have of experiencing fulfillment. So following the energy, right? Allowing yourself, like knowing I had this vision and I know it's possible. And I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to do everything I can to experience it. That's great. But it's also remembering that when you had that vision, who were you? Because your vision has the capacity to grow and expand because every single experience you have is changing you. It's expanding who you are. It's expanding your awareness of the universe. It's expanding your awareness and knowledge, right, of who you are and what you're capable of. And so some of your visions are going to grow and expand and evolve. Your job is to let them, right? If you're attached to the outcome and you have expectations, they can't grow either. So it also blocks expansion. Because remember, that's really the reason we exist, is to explore and expand consciousness. explore our potential, and expand consciousness. How do you do that? Expanding existence, creating the future of existence. You have to do things that have never been done before. You have to do things that have never been done before. Well, how do you do that? By using every tool at your disposal. Shape-shifting is the most important because it gives you wisdom and insight through energy, so you know exactly what to do. So, how do you do it? Let yourself feel. Let yourself feel and stop trying to protect yourself from feeling. Okay? Allow feelings to flow. Feelings are not emotions. Feeling is energy. It's the energy of the experience. Because guess what's in the energy? The only thing in energy that is extremely valuable to you, your exploration and your fulfillment. And that is truth. Because the energy holds the truth. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.